Welcome to Wales Tech Week 2021. Thank you to our partners. Enjoy the session.
Good morning and welcome to Connecting Landscapes, Redefining Careers. My name is Jessica Leigh Jones and I'm the co-founder and chief executive of iungo Solutions. iungo is a career tech startup. We build products that essentially create personalized career pathways for people of any age and of any background so that they can achieve their dream career. So I can't see you, unfortunately, and I can't hear you. But I'd like to just kick off with a couple of questions if you are out there. So if you could just pop some answers into the chat for me, I'd really appreciate that. So firstly, I wanted to ask you, if you think back to when you were 14 years old, did you know what career you wanted? And you can say yes or no, or you can add a bit of detail to that. But let me know, did you know what you wanted to do when you were 14? And I'll just give people a few seconds, maybe a little bit shy. It's quite early in the morning, first session, I think. So I'll just see if anybody wants to speak up. Okay, no problem. Let's make a start. Of course, by all means, feel free to pop any questions or comments into the chat at any point. I can't see you when I'm presenting, unfortunately, but I will pop back sort of partway through to see if there's any questions that need answering there. And in that time, we should have one person come through and say they didn't. So I will ask the next question, actually. So did you know what pathways were available to you? Did you know what options you had at 14 years of age? What happens when you leave school? What were you told by your careers advisor? Okay, give people a few seconds to just type away. And I suppose the follow-on question from that, which you can answer in the same breath, really is, did you know what skills you needed? Did you know what skills you needed for employment for a particular industry? Did you get taught that in school? So, as I say, feel free to kind of answer that question through the session or ask any questions you may have. Unfortunately, what all the sort of research tells us is that people don't know what career that they want to do, or at least they might think they know, but actually, as they sort of get further into it, they realize maybe it's not what they thought, or, maybe the advice they had wasn't suitable for them. And so really the problem that we're trying to solve is to simplify the careers landscape, to connect landscapes and to redefine really what it means to have a career. So I'm just going to start sharing some slides. Bear with me a second. So hopefully you can see that now. So I want to tell you a little bit about a new product that we're about to launch. And firstly, I want to tell you why we're doing it. So if we just look at the current state, if we look at the landscape in the UK, what our research tells us is that there are more than 60,000 education and training opportunities available in the UK. There's more than 30,000 qualifications that anyone can do at any given time. There are more than 7,000 undergraduate qualifications, so kind of university level, bachelor's degrees, undergraduate master's degrees, and there are more than 18,000 postgraduate qualifications. And that's where it gets really complicated because there's very little kind of data pulling all of that together. On top of that, in England, we have more than 700 apprenticeships. In Wales, we've also got a couple of hundred apprenticeships, and there are more than 2,900 professional bodies offering accredited training, CPD, membership opportunities. All these things cost money, and how do you know really where your investment is best spent? So there is no overarching infrastructure. There is no careers framework that connects these different opportunities together to simplify the landscape. And this is really where we come in. because we feel that in the UK, we really need clarity over, firstly, do we need this many options? But secondly, if these options do exist, how do they all connect together into career pathways that people can undertake? So the impact of not having this careers framework is that, on average, a young person, 14 years of age, has about 4,000 career choices available to them, depending on which sector they want to go into. And, we sort of define this roughly sort of 15 sectors. It's 4,000 choices per sector. I mean, that's a lot for anybody to kind of get their heads around. On top of that, careers guidance and some of the new career tech products coming out are biased, and it's, certainly not for any reason other than it's very, very difficult to give unbiased careers advice. It's very, very difficult to consider all of the options available and to convey that to a young person when there's simply so many. So the information out there is biased. And, despite the fact that we've got all of these choices available to a young person at any given time, still more than 700,000 young people under 24 who are not in education, training or employment. They're NEET. I mean, that's crazy. With all of this opportunity, how is that possible? From an employer perspective, more than half of employers have identified a skill shortage. Again, how can this be? Look at all of the options available. And almost all of employers describe difficulties in actually recruiting the talent and the people that they need. So that's the current state of play. So really, our value proposition, I suppose, is around simplifying this. So if we look at COVID, and if we look at how COVID has then compounded the effect, has further impacted these people. So young people have been disproportionately displaced in the labour market. We hear that all of the time. Young people are the first to lose their jobs, for example. So some stats here for you. 40% of students say they would have made different choices if they received better careers advice. And I certainly know from my own experience, when I was 14, I went to my careers advisor and asked, how could I become a software engineer? And I got told to go and do work experience in the BBC as a newsreader, which was really quite different to what I wanted to do. We know now that since COVID, 12% of new graduates are unemployed. That's extortionately high. If you look at the statistics, which go back a number of years, the average is actually only 4% each year. And we also know that schools have a really, really constrained careers budget. So about 1 in 3 schools spend not much more than £5 per pupil per year, which is a really small amount when you're talking about redefining or defining, somebody's career. So schools need help, colleges need help as well, and they need help really to help their young people find and achieve the right career path. And so we really think that tech plays a part in this. It's not the solution, but it's certainly part of the solution, because tech can connect, quantify, equate, simplify this landscape in a way that as people we just can't, because we have biases built into us based on our own experiences, our educations, our own pathways. So tech can simplify this landscape in a way that we can't. So here's our solution. So we are bringing together open source data mining. So we are looking at all of the different qualification sets, all of the different professional recognition data sets. We're building data sets where they don't exist. We're looking at apprenticeships. We're pulling all of that data together. And as I say, some of it does exist, although it's not in a great format. And other aspects we actually have to kind of research and build ourselves. Now, our sort of core USP, if you like, is that we've designed a routing algorithm. So it's a points-based algorithm that allows us to effectively connect and equate different employability factors. So we can compare and evaluate the differences and the similarities between different qualifications and different employability factors. And we really combine that data with this routing algorithm to create personalized career pathways for people based on their skills, based on their interests, the subjects they're studying at school. And we add a layer then of blockchain encryption on top of that to ensure that we are securely exchanging data. So essentially what we're doing is building an infrastructure, a digital infrastructure for skills, education and employment. So the objective of doing this is really to enhance social mobility through educational empowerment. So we know in Wales that we are actually quite far behind the rest of the UK in terms of skill levels. So don't quote me on the figures, but I think it's less than 40% of people in Wales have attained qualifications at level 4 or above, compared to England and Scotland, where it's sort of 5 or 10% more. So we know we've got an issue there. And we know that we can increase social mobility by really giving people visibility of educational pathways so that they can upskill, so that they can retrain, so that they can attain those higher educational levels. So the benefits of the platform that we are creating is, firstly, the ability to create personalized upskilling pathways. So they're free of bias, okay? And not only are they free of bias, but they are step-by-step pathways that relate to a particular person's interests and skills. Now, the benefits of this to a training provider, be it a school, a college, or a university, is that we can really help increase provider retention by showcasing those different educational progression pathways. So there's a number of features in the platform. The 3 key ones that I really want to focus on today are the fact that we have this personalized career routing, which really benefits those young people. We've got encrypted digital profiles, blockchain encrypted digital profiles, which really allow you to build a very complete, a very detailed picture of your skills, abilities, qualifications, etc., and be able to transfer and export that kind of digital profile and portfolio into a number of different formats, and to exchange that with different training providers. And finally, we have a course finder. So on the surface of it, I suppose you could look at this and say, well, there's lots of other products that do that. There's lots of products that, create CV exports, and there's lots of products that tell me what I could do. And, there's loads of competitors in this space. But where we really kind of differentiate ourselves, I suppose, is that we're not doing this for a quick win. We're not doing this to make money. We are doing this to create a digital infrastructure for the UK. And we're doing that by building our platform on a scalable, indeed in the future, a globally scalable and ultra flexible architecture. So this is all about creating an infrastructure in the same way that you have, I suppose, a transport infrastructure. This is about creating that for education and training. And certainly in my view, that is long overdue. So let's have a little look at the product. So it is a self-service careers platform. Advantages of it being self-service is obviously removing that bias, so the young person can interact with this platform and essentially explore more than 1,000 different careers across 11 sectors, and that's building all the time. We've got further 4 sectors identified to go into the platform, but they can essentially browse this in a sector and pathway style format to be able to kind of discover and compare different careers. We also have a function where you can search for careers based on your skills or the subjects that you study in at school. So if you kind of want to see, based on, I'm 14 years of age, and based on the choices I've made so far, the subjects that I really enjoy, what kind of careers could I go into? There's a functionality that allows people to do that as well. And once you've found your dream career, you can really start to look into the detail of it. So what could I expect as a salary? We personalize actually the salaries according to kind of how long it's going to take you to achieve that career as well. So this isn't sort of, I suppose, off the shelf labour market information. This is personalized information to the user. Okay, so looking at it in a little bit more detail then. So this is kind of a typical screen that you'll get when you find a particular career that you're interested in. So it'll present you with a number of routes. And as I say, these are step-by-step career routes. And they don't just say, do GCSEs, do A-levels, and then go into a job. They give you very, very detailed, very structured information on which GCSEs could you do, which A levels does that lead on to. If you pick these GCSEs, what impact does that have on your A levels? Actually, what else is there apart from A levels? Could you do something totally different? Could you do a BTEC? Could you do an apprenticeship? So these kind of routes give you that very, very personalized step-by-step detail. You can then, once you kind of find one that you like, and you may decide you like it based on, you know, the time it takes to complete it. It may be shorter than some of the others. You may decide you like it because you like the look of the qualifications. Whatever the sort of reason is, once you've picked the route that you like the look of, you can really delve into that and understand, you know, what the responsibilities are within the role, what the salary potential looks like, how many hours you might be expected to work, that type of information. And then eventually you're going to want to know not just how to get to that career, but actually, you know, what to do next. So what is the next step? So using this platform, you can look at each of the sort of nodes, if you like, along that pathway, each of the steps along the pathway, and you can find out where in your area, or virtually online, or in an entirely different area if you want to, but you can find out where you can do that particular course, that particular apprenticeship. So that's kind of the flow, if you like, the user journey through this platform. Now, we're very conscious of accessibility and the need to kind of build this in from the start. So we want to make sure that this platform is available in language of choice. I think that's particularly important to schools and colleges to be able to offer that. So the platform is available currently in English and in Welsh. We've added built-in voiceover function. So for those who might be partially sighted or struggle, you know, for any other reason to kind of distinguish these different pathways, then we do have a voiceover function which can, you know, verbally say what the information is, again, both in English and in Welsh. And we also have a light and a dark mode. Dark mode's really popular with young people, we've found out, because it looks quite cool. But essentially, this is really to minimize blue light exposure. So what does it mean for kinds of schools and colleges? So, you know, in our view, this really is a state-of-the-art career solution. And it's state-of-the-art because it is built on an infrastructure, right? It's not a one-off product. It's not a spin-off. It's not a, you know, a one-trick pony. It is a solution that will grow both in volume and in intelligence. And so it's something that will evolve with the school. It is an all-in-one solution. The idea is that students are able to navigate the landscape. They can plan careers, they can compare options, they can favorite routes. So from a school's perspective, they can see all of that interaction and all of that activity to kind of see what that young person is interested in and how they may be able to support them further. And then that young person can also actually connect with those live education and employment opportunities. So again, for a school or a college, this is about digitizing the information, advice and guidance provision. We want to reduce strain on resources. We know budgets are limited, but we also know that this is a really important investment. So what we want to do is free up teachers and careers leaders to do that one-on-one coaching. So this platform, you can consider, does the groundwork. You know, it allows people to make informed decisions. It allows them to come to their own conclusions on what they may or may not want to do. But that intelligence then that's built up in their profile gives the careers leader the opportunity to do some more deep dive one-to-one coaching and provide more tailored support to that individual. So the groundwork is done up front. And finally, what this platform does is really allow an institution to demonstrate their compliance, their legal compliance with the Careers in the World of Work framework that we have in Wales, but also the broader Gatsby benchmarks. So I've spoken a bit about what it does. Maybe it'll be interesting, I guess, for some people to understand a little bit more about how it works. So maybe it's helpful if I go back to my career. So I started my career as an apprentice electrician, actually, with my father. Not something that I suppose I planned to do, but something that I was almost born into, I fell into, and I always thought that I was going to be an electrician. I did a degree in astrophysics, don't ask me why, but that got me very kind of interested in data science and in complex adaptive systems. modeling, kind of conditional modeling and those types of things. And I then moved into manufacturing. And I suppose throughout that pathway, I did a number, quite an unusual pathway, I know. I did a number of different qualifications. I did an apprenticeship, I did an MBQ, I did a degree, I did kind of an HR qualification. I did lots of sort of random things along that pathway. And so that's really what sort of sparked the interest is how do you bring all of this together? So no surprise, I've sort of accumulated, I suppose, colleagues with kind of similar interests, I suppose, in terms of education, but also in terms of data science. So really, we've built this platform on a cutting edge graph NoSQL database. And so the advantage of that is that we kind of went into this project saying, we don't really know how this is going to turn out. We don't really know how this framework, this infrastructure is going to look, because it's so complicated that as people, we can't get our heads around it. So what we did instead, rather than try and, I suppose, design what it was going to be, instead what we did was design an architecture that allowed it to become whatever it needed to become. So we brought together these 60,000 education and training opportunities that we mentioned at the start. And essentially, we brought them together in a way that allowed us to just keep building more connections between things. And that's what the graph database is all about. And that's why this platform gets better over time. The more users we get, the more information we put into it, the better the platform gets, the more intelligent the platform gets. And we're now in a position where we can create more than 1.4 million career routes. And that's probably a fraction of where we're going to be in sort of 12 months' time when we bring in, currently we've got English and Welsh data, but when we bring in Scotland and Northern Ireland, presumably people want to be able to move across borders as well, right? So that just creates more options, more pathways, more millions of career routes. So the key point is that, this is a cloud-hosted platform. It is infinitely scalable. It is ultra secure. We are using that blockchain encryption to really ensure that we are securing that personal data. But the graph database really is kind of the underpinning technology that we're using here, in addition to kind of complex adaptive algorithms and those sorts of things. So currently, as I say, we've got a lot of data. We've got about 60,000 educational options in there. We're getting full data access from Ofqual, from Qualifications Wales, the Institute of Apprenticeships in England, and also apprenticeships in Wales. We've also constructed data sets for professional institutions and also for kind of undergraduate and postgraduate qualifications as well. So we've got a lot of data in there from a lot of sort of key educational regulators. And this platform is available both as a mobile app, which is on the App Store, iOS and Android, and also now available on the web, which is what we're sort of launching with you today. So in terms of, as I say, sort of the team that's created this, you know a little bit about me. I've told you a little bit about my background in kind of data engineering and astrophysics. My co-founder, Tom Duval, a huge amount of sort of senior leadership experience across a number of different industries, not least some big brands like Sony, Amazon, and KSR. And then we've also got Bradley Tanner working with us, who's former curriculum director at a local college. And obviously a huge wealth of knowledge and experience in how to kind of make these connections and bring this data together. And we're supported by a team of 9. We've got data scientists, we've got software developers, and we've got creative professionals. And the creative aspect has been really important for us during this project, because we really wanted to make sure that this was something that would be, visually attractive and appealing to a young person, so that it's not just another careers lesson. It's actually, more of an immersive experience, and it's a bit more sort of interesting for young people to engage with this. And so far we've received investment, I suppose, for building this team and this platform and all of the kind of activities that we have around this platform to support it. So we run an enterprising engineers project with support from the Royal Academy of Engineering and with the University of Wales Trinity St David. We also in the process of developing a degree apprenticeship in engineering entrepreneurship with the Royal Society, and we've received, very generous support and investment as well from Welsh Government. So that's kind of the team and the support network, I suppose, that's really bringing this solution to life. And as I say, this isn't tech for the sake of tech. This isn't, sort of the solution in itself. It's part of a solution. It's part of a suite of support solutions to really help people find and achieve that dream career and ultimately improve social mobility. So this is what we're looking for. Obviously, I've come here for a reason today, and it's really to put an invitation to any schools, to any colleges, universities who may be on the call with us today, to really be one of the first in Wales to access the platform. So it's currently a closed shop. It's not sort of available unless you're part of the pilot. And really what we're asking is for you to join us. We will give you organisational wide access to test the Careers IAG platform for us. We're hoping to do that in a sort of 3 to 4 month period with a view to sort of commercially launching this product in sort of September, October time. And during that period, you will get the support of a dedicated technical account manager. So it won't just be a case of, here it is, we'll drop it in and tell us what you think. It'll be a case of working with you and understanding how can we actually make this better for you? How can we, sort of satisfy your needs? How can we improve the data in the platform and the features and the user experience? So it'll be a very kind of collaborative process, and you'll get that dedicated support from us. We're also offering complimentary platform training for anybody who may be using the platform during the pilot, and we will do a careers and transferable skills workshop with your students. So we've already kind of trialed this at Prince's Trust Future Skills Fest earlier in the year. So you'll get that from one of Brad's team as well, one of our delivery managers. And yeah, essentially this is an invitation to shape the future of what we genuinely believe will be the first digital education and careers infrastructure in the UK. So so we very much look forward to having your input and your feedback on that. So we've got a little bit of time. If it's okay, I'm just going to jump out of here. Just check if you've got any questions first and foremost. Okay. And I'm just going to jump into the platform itself and just give you a little demo, just so you can kind of see what it's all about. So this is the alpha release. And as you can see on the sort of first screen, you've got a number of different tiles. So these are your different sectors that you can explore. So I picked the first one. So within a sector, as I say, creativity is a key part for us. We're always sort of working on our sort of graphics and icons and things and trying to make it attractive to young people. When you get through that first layer, you get another layer of kind of pathways. And I'll just pick another one of my interests, human resources. So again, if we just kind of jump into there, you can then see the different careers. So, there may be anything between, I don't know, 5 and 50 careers in a given pathway, and there may be anything between 2 and 15 pathways in a sector. So you can quickly see how the sort of numbers add up. And again, just to sort of pick one, what you get is a sort of standard job description, so you can understand a little bit about the role, the entry requirements for the role, etc. And then essentially we move into the page where we start to build some actual routes. So this one here is pulling back sort of an apprenticeship route. I've just noticed we're in England, so I'll just change that to Wales and see what we get in Wales as well. Okay, so we've got similar kind of apprenticeship route in Wales as well. And yeah, so you can see the kind of duration of the pathways, and you can almost sort of compare then between the apprenticeship and the technical pathway. So just sort of try another one out. Engineering is quite a good one. There's quite a number of different sectors within engineering. We're currently working on semiconductors at the moment. If there's anyone in the audience representing semiconductors who'd like to help us with that, that would be fantastic. And again, just to sort of jump in here, maybe have a look at, one of my sort of interests, an electronic engineer. So again, there we go. We're pulling back some pathways there in Wales. And again, if I switch it to England, we may get something different. So we've got a third pathway there in England as well. And then if we were to click on one of these, what we then get is some more detailed information. So we're pulling through some salary information, some working hours. We can see the duration of this particular component, which is obviously to complete GCSEs, because the profile's for a kind of 14-year-old. So we know how much they're going to earn at the end of this pathway, average hours. We can start to select some GCSEs as well. We can look at the different A-level options that might be available. And these are not just, you know, slapped in there. These are GCSEs and A-levels that are relevant to this particular pathway. So as you look at, you know, different options, you will kind of pull different things back. I'm just going to switch on the dark mode because everybody loves the dark mode. Just put that on there as well. And okay, so if I jump back to the sort of home page, another thing that we can do is to kind of look at all careers. There's a lot of them, I will say. So maybe not kind of, you know, initially useful to just look at that, but maybe we can do some filtering. So perhaps I'm looking for a role where I want to be creative. Maybe I want to work with digital. And, you know, I'm quite ambitious. I'm looking for a kind of decent salary range. And so if I look at that, what we can see is it really starts to, you know, cut down. And I suppose this is a cross-sectoral approach. So if you're a young person, you've got no idea what sector or what pathway you want to go into, but you know what you're good at. If you know what your skills are, then this could be, you know, a really nice sort of way to have a look. And you can see we're pulling back some interesting roles here from kind of, you know, business development and sales. We've got improvement practitioners, genomic bioinformaticians, data analytics technicians, got all sorts of stuff pulling back. And you can see it just kind of highlights the dominant tag. So I'll just have a look at this one just out of interest. So again, quite an interesting one here. So we've got a nice apprenticeship pathway coming through for senior business development manager. And, you know, how many young people know that they can do degree apprenticeships? How many young people know that they can actually get to a senior manager level role through just completing apprenticeships? Okay. And finally, I'll just show you the profile. So what we're working on at the moment really is to be able to showcase somebody's achievements within a profile. So covering everything from their, you know, their qualifications, their apprenticeships experience, any professional recognitions they've got, also their portfolio as well. So any sort of significant works they've completed. And, you know, so this is pulling my profile through at the moment. So you can kind of see, you know, in here, we've got sort of all the qualifications in this case that have been completed, sort of categorized and ordered, sort of based on level. And we can go in and we can add some more qualifications. So there's, you know, various different ways of doing this, but maybe somebody's done a kind of, I don't know, a GCSE in Welsh. So we might want to see if we can find that. And you can just basically add them then. If I've added the wrong one, maybe I'm second language, so I sort of remove that. And you can just keep adding. So I can add my maths and essentially just keep adding those to your profile. So that's just a quick demo. As I say, this is the alpha. It's early stage. If I just quickly pop back to this sort of presentation. So in terms of the pilot and I suppose the product release schedule, as I say, we are inviting you to be one of the first in Wales to access and to feedback on this platform. The alpha phase, which is what I've just sort of shown you there, is about to be released this month. So what we'll be asking for is your feedback on the different ways of navigating. So I didn't show you the search, but essentially we can navigate by sector and pathway. We can navigate by skills, by subjects, by working hours and salary bands and those kinds of things, or we can navigate directly by search. So if people know exactly what they want to do, we can navigate in that way as well. So we'll be asking you to really give us feedback on what the user experience is like, how easy it is for people to get to grips with it. We've tried to design it in a way such that it's quite self-explanatory and you know, we know that young people are quite sort of, you know, happy to just click away and try different things. So we've tried to make things very very clickable and very interactive, but we'd love your feedback on that. And then also the career routing. So how kind of useful is it in its current format? Could it be improved in any way? Are there any things that are obviously missing? Are there any things that may not quite be accurate? We're finding out all the time about different kind of programs and sort of schemes that are available for people. We spoke yesterday about kind of Cyber College Wales. Those types of details are not readily available, so that the more we can find out about those, the more we can kind of improve and enhance the routes within the platform as well. So that's what the alpha phase is all about. And the way that would work is that we'd give you kind of a single corporate account, and we'd ask you to just go in and play and essentially give us some structured feedback around the user experience and the functionality, the features, etc. We'd also do, as I say, some training with you and some kind of one-to-one sort of probably virtual sessions where maybe we ask you some questions and just dig into some of your comments in a little bit more detail. In phase 2 then, the beta phase, we're going to be really asking you to test the personalized functions. So, alpha is really about making sure we've got the foundations right before we sort of go on to do anything else. The beta phase then is about understanding how well the personalization is working and how we can further improve that. So we'll be asking you to open up the pilot to a slightly wider group of people. So by this point, we will give you individual accounts that live within your corporate account. So you'll be able to kind of oversee and manage those accounts and who and how they use the platform. But essentially, we'll want those individuals, whether they are members of staff or whether they are students, ideally students, to really start filling in the profiles as they have them now. So adding any current qualifications that they're doing with you and just understanding how that process works and if it's straightforward. It sounds really simple to add qualifications to a profile, but actually there are sort of a myriad of different ways of doing it, and we're trying to sort of accommodate for everyone's kind of preference there. So we'll be asking you for some feedback on how easy it is to construct the profile, to edit the profile, to export the profile, how good the CVs look and the digital portfolios look. And we'll also be asking you then to kind of look at the personalized routing suggestions. So what will happen is that when you fill this profile in, the routes will adjust according to what you've already achieved. So whether it's qualifications or experience, essentially it all has a points value. So we then readjust the routes and use our sort of intelligent algorithms to kind of personalize your pathway and maybe take certain steps out or suggest conversion courses or those sorts of things. So that's why it'd be quite good to get staff involved as well, because it'd be quite nice to get a range of different profiles that we can really test. And then the full release, really, which will be coming out sort of September, October time, we will be asking you to test this, and we will be sort of asking you, I suppose, to share your course data with us so that we can really link these steps on the career pathway to your courses. So, I read a stat yesterday that, a university might spend £2 to £3 million a year on marketing. And this would be a very, very low cost solution for a university or a college to showcase its courses to young people, not just in the local area, but if you've got a digital provision to showcase that kind of Wales-wide or UK-wide as well. So some of the features in there that we'll be asking you to test, obviously the search and apply is a big one. So making sure that we can seamlessly link students and interested candidates to your courses. And this applies both with your existing students who may want to just progress from where they are. So they're doing a level 2 qualification and maybe they're not aware there's a level 3, but we show them that in their pathway and they kind of, opt for that and try to progress with you. So we'll be asking you to check the search and apply. There'll also be an interactive career map. So again, there are opportunities here to kind of make that bespoke to you, to really sort of showcase your institution's educational pathways, again, as a means of increasing retention and sort of enticing students to come in who have that sort of longer term view of what they want from their career. We'll be bringing in corporate branding, so you can have this hosted internally by this point if you want to, and we can certainly bring your branding in so that it kind of becomes your platform, it becomes your system to use. We also have a suite of career solutions that are under development, so a range of things from kind of supporting with recruitment to supporting students with I don't know, maybe applying for professional registration. So if you're offering, let's say, level 3 engineering courses, then we can make an assessment of your students' knowledge and experience and help them apply for engineering technician, for example, which is obviously regulated through the Engineering Council. Similarly, if you're running CMI courses or ILM courses, we can sort of help with C Manager, Chartered Manager, as well. So we'll be bringing in a suite of career solutions really to support the rollout of this platform. And as I say, we can do some really, really nice bespoke work around highlighting and showcasing your platforms. And this is something then that if you wanted to, you could drop it into your website, so you could make that aspect kind of available to the public, to prospective students, to be able to, interact with your courses and kind of see where they all lead. So that's the product release schedule. That is Connecting Landscapes, Redefining Careers. This is the start of the journey. This is sort of, 12 months worth of, I suppose, data science and product development to date, but we really are only just beginning. And we are looking now to you for your kind of support as pilot customers to really trial this out for us and tell us how we can make it better. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and just pop back to the chat just to see if we've got any questions coming through. So yeah, as I say, I can't see you, unfortunately, but I can see your comments in the chat. So I can see Callie has just come back and said that her careers advisor didn't outline what was necessary for various industries at all, or what paths there could be. So again, this is a really sort of common situation, and I don't want to sort of offend any careers advisors. I think they do a fantastic job, but it really is difficult to know everything there is to know about every career, and that's really what we're trying to do. We're just trying to help careers advisors and schools to give that unbiased and comprehensive IAG provision up front, and really to put the ball in the students' court as well, to kind of do their own independent research, to become independent learners and really make informed decisions. So, okay, I think that's probably a wrap. Thank you very, very much for attending this session, and I'll just pop that email into the chat so that if anyone does want to kind of follow up and maybe look at starting becoming a pilot customer, please just get in touch and we'll have a conversation. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of Wales Tech Week.
Thank you for watching. Rewatch all of our sessions online. Thank you to our partners.